Casey Wilson, owner of Roseville Strength and Conditioning and one of your co-hosts of the Do or Do Not podcast. And this is
Brad Erie.
So today we're going to talk about some fun stuff.
Finally.
But first we're going to talk about fitness.
All right, let's do it.
So we're going to start off every show with a little bit of fitness stuff. It is what I do, and it's how Brad and I got to know each other. So today we're going to talk about goal setting. So a lot of what I do with clients and with people in general is there's all different types of goal setting. So you have goal setting for business, personal goals, but fitness goals are very important. And so some things about setting up goals and what I work on with people is you got to have some type of realistic goal. So you can start out saying, I want to lose 100 pounds or I want to lose 40 pounds, but you have to have realistic goals in the meantime. So first you got to set a realistic goal. That's one of the hardest things when people come in is they want to talk about the final goal. It's like, all right, let's set some goals to get to that point. Goals can also be achievements. Brad did a Spartan race. I've done a bunch of Spartan races. Recently did a DecaFit, done some Tough Mudders.
You've done all of them.
I've done a lot of those things, and I do those things because those are the goals I set for myself to keep myself on track. Because if I don't want to go out and look horrible in those things, so goal setting is very important when it comes down to achieving your goal. So you got to set a realistic goal. You got to set a time frame on it. So time frame is very important. If you just go, I want to lose this weight, but you don't give yourself any benchmarks. You don't say, I got to be here at this time and here at that time. That's a major problem, because if you don't have any urgency in the goal and you don't have a time set for the goal, you're probably not going to achieve it. I've been doing this 22 years, and I can tell you when people come in, and I can know if they're really going to have a chance to hit their goal or not pretty quickly. Brad, I got a half-hearted feeling from Brad when he walked in. So I was like, he does want it, and he started working towards it a little bit, but I didn't know if he would be able to get to the point if he'd let other stuff get in the way or not. Some people walk in the door, and I know this person's going to reach their goal because they are super motivated. And it could be anything from, you don't like the way you look in clothing. You don't like the way you're feeling. The doctor told you you're going to die in the next couple of years if you don't get in shape. It can be a lot of things that'll set you on that path to reach your goal. But as far as goal setting, it has to be realistic. There has to be a time frame, and you have to be capable of doing it. So if I were to tell you, you got to cook healthy meals and doing those things, and you don't know how to cook, we can't do that. If, you have one leg and I want you to do, a bunch of plyometrics, we're going to have to work on that because you're not going to have, there's just different things that you can and can't do. There's different limitations. There's issues with getting to the goal. But the main thing is up here. You got to have this in your mind that you want to do it, and you're not going to let any obstacles overcome you. So when setting goals, it has to be realistic. So I'll give you a basic fitness goal a lot of people come in with. They come in with, I want to lose 30 or 40 pounds. That's the most common goal I will hear. So when I talk to people about it, I go, here's a reasonable rate of losing weight a month. And I also talk about body composition with people. I set body composition goals more than weight, but a lot of people have weight in mind. So I go, you should lose maybe about 8 pounds of fat a month. So that's 2 pounds a week. That's creating a big deficit. That's actually a very fast pace, to be honest. If somebody loses 4 pounds of fat in a month, they're going to see a difference. But 8 pounds of fat is somebody who's really focused. It's a primary goal in their life. It's not 3 or 4 levels down past their work, their family life, their other hobbies and stuff. They're actually putting it up at a high echelon, which they should. Because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything.
My goal, if you remember, was to look like Brad Pitt from...
And this is where we get back to
Achilles.
You don't have the ability level to get to that point.
In 3 weeks.
Yes.
That was my goal when I walked in.
So there's a perfect example of not having the ability level to reach that goal.
I beg your pardon.
So...
Crushed it.
Yeah. And so you have to come in with those realistic goals. You ought to have a time frame. And then you set smaller goals to get to that bigger goal. So... that's the main focus when doing those things. Setting goals. Got distracted because the TV shut off in the camera.
It's all the work. Work in progress.
All those technical issues.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But goal setting is very important. So anybody who watches this, if you want to put anything in comments or you want to, direct message me at RosevilleSC.com.
I'm looking at you, Mom.
And you have any questions about goals and goal setting, but it has to be realistic. It has to be steady, and you have to have a mindset. The people who come in and who I know are going to achieve goals, I see an ironclad resolve in their eyes that they're going to do this. It was not him, but he eventually, within a short period of time, I did see that in him. Then he really busted busted his ass. But you really have to have those things. And that's with anything in life, whether it's personal goals, business goals, and you got to have a game plan for achieving it. So if you come in and go, I really want to do this, and I'm like, I'm here to give you that game plan. Here's how we're going to do it. And it's usually hard work. You're going to be sore. There's going to be pain when you're doing the workout. You're going to have to tough it out. You're going to have discipline, meaning you're going to have to eat. And if you're not coming in here 5 days a week, you're going to have to get some workouts in on your own. So they're setting a game plan, going over this is what your macronutrients need to be. This is your calorie level. This is how much calories you need to burn each week. So we set a game plan for you to get there. And then we monitor that goal. You can't just set a goal and go, oh, well, all right. Maybe. We actually about every 4 weeks, I take measurements on clients that are really focused on their goals, who their goals are measurement based, meaning they're looking to lose body fat, gain muscle, change their body. If somebody comes in, some people come in and their goal is just to get healthier. And that's generally like people who aren't moving. I mean, I have a lot of older clients too that just haven't been doing anything, and they're starting to really suffer from their age. And we just start having them move and have them start doing mobility exercises and strength training, a little bit of cardio. Then all of a sudden their joints start feeling better because they're actually moving and getting active. We start working on diet. But measurement goals, you got to take measurements, so you got to take some measurements and chart that progress. Just had the big contest end, and I think I should have took midway measurements because a lot of people, everybody made progress that did the contest. There's a few people that basically stayed the same, but most everybody made progress, but it wasn't like a huge change. And I'm thinking maybe I should have done that did some like midway measurements and stuff. I shouldn't have held my hand up too long. The camera's now tracking me.
Well, you are
and it went right at it.
You are the better looking one of us. So the two of us there. So that's probably good.
I don't know about that.
My comments.
All right. I'll give you that.
I know you're really pushing hard on that.
The pushback was aggressive. Yeah. So that's the big part of it.
Yes, and what you're good at in the goals is accountability of like, okay, you're not meeting your goals or you're slowing down, like what's going on, like how can we catch you up, which is what you did for me. It was really helpful. The thing that they don't tell you, like once you lose and hit your goal, is how to maintain your weight. Like that's a whole nother goal you should talk about. Like, all right, so you've dropped 40 pounds. How do you make sure you don't gain it back? Like what lifestyles you got to do, you got to change so you don't gain the 40 pounds back next year, next month, whatever.
Well, two things we'll talk about. That's actually, maintenance is very important, but also like plateauing. So a lot of people will have an initial weight loss.
Yeah.
So a lot of times the first month, it can be, but a lot of times it's the second month is when they have a huge amount of weight loss because we kind of slowly rev their metabolism up. We started getting more disciplined in eating, and they'll lose some in the first month, but usually a second month. But there comes times if you have an ultimate goal, let's say of 60 pounds.
Yeah.
Oh, what was yours? Like 89 pounds?
Yeah.
So Brad didn't just lose it steadily the whole time. He had some times where he lost a lot, and then he had kind of a plateau. And so the goal is, that's why we do the measurements. That's why I'm checking in with him. How are you doing? Because he'll get on the scale or he'll be like watching his body.
Very frustrating to be like, oh man, I worked so hard to get on a scale. Like, oh, I've gained half a pound. Like, how does that work? Why am I not dropping like this nice linear, smooth thing? It's not the way it worked for me.
And so part of that is your body will adjust to what you're doing. So it's always challenging it. That's why when people come in, they go, oh man, planks are starting to get easier. I'm like, yeah, I know. You're about ready to move on to the next exercise. So we're progressing up to harder stuff all the time because you don't want to let your body adjust. Your body's a finely tuned computer. They're trying to create computers that work how the body works. And it will adjust to what you're doing. And so let's say you take a few days off and you go on a vacation or 10 days in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And you're not doing what you should do. What happens? What's the body do?
Oh, I gained some weight back.
Yeah. So that's where you got to always be on top of things with measurements, but also, you got to understand your body's going to eventually go, I don't know why we're losing all this weight. I don't know why this changes, but we're going to kind of flatten it out a little bit. And so then you have to bust that plateau. And a lot of it's just more discipline. It's like really analyzing what you're doing and also waiting for your body to kick back in, but pushing a little bit harder. You change your workouts up. Mm-hmm. If we're doing a certain type of workout, then we change it up and try to shock your body back into a different place. Maybe you take some time off and you go, all right, we're going to up your calories a little bit.
Yeah.
And we're going to change your workouts, and that'll kick your body back in. And then we can always come back down later. There's lots of playing with, the body, trying to figure out what it's going to make it going to, change, and what each person's response. Each person's response is different. Some women, men, older, younger, there's a lot of different stuff that get it to go. And a lot of it's like playing with your macronutrients. Some of it's just like, all right, what have you been doing on your own workouts? Trying to analyze like, oh, I've been doing cardio. Like, all right, what are you doing cardio-wise? Sometimes it comes down to, I'm eating really healthy. I'm eating clean. I'm eating fruit every morning. I'm eating a bowl of fruit. All right, well, what's in this bowl of fruit?
Fruit Loops.
I had 2 oranges, a banana, an apple, half a bag of grapes, and I'm like, this literally is a conversation I had with a client. They were eating a serving bowl full of fruit every morning, and I was like, well, you know how many calories you just ate? Every morning, can't start the day off. Hey, fruit's great. I'm not anti-fruit, but the bottom line is it's calories. It's still sugar. It's fructose. It's still sugar, and you can't eat too much of it. So it's like finding those little minute things that you're doing wrong and start tweaking them, and also tweaking the workout. Now, maintenance. This is something that is very simple. Maintenance is just staying on track. Mm-hmm. You don't even have to work as hard. When you get to where you want to be at, and here's the main boogaboo in that thing. You haven't heard that word in a while.
Careful, we almost got canceled.
I know. Boogaboo, or problem with that type of mindset, is when people go into maintenance mode, they get lazy. They go, I don't have to work as hard. Let's say you lose 40 pounds and love how you're looking in your spring clothes, the summer clothes, which is what everybody's starting to wear now. And some people are not happy with how they look. But let's say you're happy and you're going, I worked hard with Casey. I came in and saw him 3 days a week, did all this work, and I'm happy. And then you go out on your own. And I'm like, all right, great. We got you to your goal. Now here's what you need to do. You need to do this each week. You can eat this many calories and stay on track this way. The problem is with maintenance is people get lazy and they fall back into habits. They're no longer seeing the trainer anymore. They're no longer focusing as much on their food. Like, I can eat more calories. When you say that, you start letting off the gas pedal. And you start slowing down. So that's the main problem with maintenance. Maintenance is usually you can bump your calorie levels back up because you're just trying to stay at a homeostatic state. So you're trying to stay even. You're trying to burn as many calories as you're eating. You're trying to work out enough to maintain your muscle mass and your cardiovascular level. And it's not hard to do. The problem is you let off the gas, and then you let off the gas a little bit, then a little more, then a little more. Then 2 months later, you're calling me going, Casey, I gained 10 pounds. How'd this happen? I'm like, I'll tell you how it happened.
Mai Tais.
Yeah.
What happened?
I tell a lot of my clients just to at least try to get in to see me like once a week or once every 2 weeks when they go into maintenance mode, just so they have somebody in their ear reminding them of what needs to happen. I even have some people come in once every month and they go, all right, I just need to come in and make sure I'm on track. Take their measurements, put them through a hard workout, make sure they're maintaining their fitness level. So that's kind of where maintenance comes in.
I'm in the maintenance level, kind of. I'm not done yet, but I've maintained...
He's not done.
My weight loss for about a year and a half.
Yes, he's done very good too, and he works hard on his own too.
I work hard so I can eat a lot. That's the way it goes. I lose weight, they gain it back.
Yep. So Brad's done a great job of maintenance, and he always stays on track. He hasn't been coming in and getting workouts in as regularly, but he was here last night or 2 nights ago.
I'll come back in more now when the summer months come.
He's taking vacations to Hawaii for 10 days and drinking Mai Tais and eating everything in sight. So
what I do to prepare, like I know when I go to Hawaii, I'm like, I know I'm not going to worry about dieting so much. So I work really hard before. I drop some weight. I go in. I reached my lowest weight. I was like 205 pounds. I'm like, okay, I'm expecting to gain like 5 of those back, which is where I usually range between 210, 213, around there. I'm like, okay, I gave myself some leeway. And I still came back at like 220.
Yeah.
Mai Tais, they're good, but fattening, I learned.
So the one thing I always preach, and it's the number one thing that most Americans don't listen to, is moderation.
What's that?
Yeah. So you go on vacation and you go, do you need to eat 5 plates of food, or you need to eat all day long? You need to drink alcohol all day long? No. instead of having a Mai Tai, have a few shots of whiskey and it's less calories, or it's not as sugary of a drink. Or have Mai Tais, but then you don't have to have them all day long. Or you don't have to eat food all day long.
If you're with my family, you want those Mai Tais rolling in. Mango, mojitos. We had pizza by the sea. The ocean, it was fantastic, and I am paying for it now.
Yes.
Like I'm working off the weight.
But a little moderation would have done you
Probably would have helped, but you know what? I didn't do it. I failed.
Yep.
I failed.
So that's my main thing. I tell people when the holidays are happening, like we just had Easter, it's like have one plate of food. One good plate of food, there's all this good stuff. Have one or two desserts. Don't go crazy on your holidays. Don't go crazy on vacation. Just have a little bit more, enjoy yourself, but don't go nuts.
I feel like you're talking directly to me.
I am directly to you.
Like you know what I do for Easter and holidays. Yeah.
All right, so let's get into some non-fitness talk.
Finally. I mean, we're about, 10 minutes in or so? I don't even know.
My son watched the first podcast, and he's just like, you guys are just talking about yourselves. I thought you said you talked about like cool stuff too. And I go, well, we talk about Star Wars, talk about superhero movies. I go, he's an anime, all the anime crap, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm out. But with that being said,
I mean, we are cool, so we are talking about cool stuff. I mean,
fitness is cool. Don't get me wrong. My son does not think fitness is cool, but
my mom thinks I'm cool, and I know she's one of probably our only subscriber right now.
Your mom does not think you're cool.
Debatable.
I don't think she loves you, I'm sure.
Well, that's debatable
Thinks
too.
You're cool.
I'm in the top 2 of her favorite kids. Top 2 for sure.
All right, so we're going to go over a little bit about what happened recently at the Star Wars celebration in London.
Hit me. This is you. This is.
I thought I told you to study up.
I did, but I know this is hitting you in your sweet spot.
Well, no,
I'm just going to back away from the mic, let you go.
There's some great stuff that I'm very excited about.
All right, let's hear it.
I read a lot more books and stuff than Brad does.
Yep.
At least about Star Wars.
That's right.
Over the years, I used to read everything that came out back when I was younger before I had kids and stuff. But so I'm very into Legends. I still read. There's stuff that I took some time off when I had kids and I didn't read as many books and stuff. But I was really always into it. And it's probably the number one reason why I hate Kathleen Kennedy. Because she destroyed Star Wars because she didn't follow the Legends universe from the books.
Let it out. I know you want to. Just let it.
I'm not going to because I like a lot of what's going on. And hopefully she's gone in a very, very near future.
All right.
So I will get to that when we talk about the Rey movie. But there's a book.
We'll make that one explicit.
Called The Dawn of the Jedi, which is a great book. I really enjoyed it. And they're basically basing a movie off of it. I doubt it's going to be exactly like the book because it really revolved in a bigger story, but there's also more of a narrow story about a brother and a sister, and one went to the darker side. There's 2 moons called Ashla and Bogan, I believe.
I'll take your word.
Tython's the planet. There's 2 moons, and the Jedi from back then would send darker Jedis to Bogan and lighter Jedis to Ashla. So I don't want to it's been a while since I read the book, but it's really, really good. And they don't have lightsabers. They're using like metal, like really strong metal blades, but they use the Force and stuff. It's a really good book. And when they announced they were making that, I got really excited. And the guy who's going to helm it made Logan, which is a great movie.
James Mangold. Is that him?
Yep. You got it. And I'm excited
now, isn't
about
this
that.
like, I thought I read that this movie is like the formation of the Force. Like this is like the beginning of the Force and how the Jedi and Sith came about and all of that. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
But before there was no Sith or Jedi. That's why I was talking about Ashla and Bogan.
See, don't let him fool you. He is the bigger nerd.
So there's the darker and the light, and they acknowledge them, and they go and they try to train people that are leaning towards the dark side and the light side a little different. Not even differently. They're just trying to help them they're trying to find balance.
Yeah.
Back then, it was always about balancing the dark and the light.
Oh.
And if they drifted too far to one side, nowadays it's you're either dark or light, and there's gray Jedis and blah blah blah. But
we'll get
Bindu.
to those.
But the bottom line is
I gotta live long enough.
you got to read the book number one because and all books.
Goals.
All definitely. But The book, I'm sure they're going to make changes and stuff like that to the screenplay. I don't know if they're going to go exactly off the source material, but it sounded like that because there's these different temples where you go to different masters and learn different techniques and stuff. So you travel, and they have to travel on foot on a dangerous planet, and they have to survive to get to the temple. It's really cool. So I'm really excited about that. That is a great thing. Also, my favorite, as I were telling my son, those are the gods of Star Wars right there.
Yeah.
Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, when they're on screen talking, I'm like, there's my gods of Star Wars. There's the guys that care about it as much as us.
Not worthy.
So he's making a Mando-verse movie, which is kind of a lot of people are saying, and we don't know yet because there's so much we don't know. They're thinking that this may be to wrap up the Mando-verse.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
That's what people are saying, but they didn't say that.
Yep.
They just said it takes place in that period of time. All the nerds are saying it's going to be set up in the Mandoverse. But with that being said, here's the thing: when I say stuff like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau I'm like this to them because I'm so excited by what they're doing, is because they're like me. They're like you. I know you're not quite as versed in some of the stuff as I am, but they are Star Wars nuts. They love it. It affected them as a
disciples.
It affected them as a person. The universe, the star, that galaxy far, far away. My first movie my dad ever took me, just me and him, was Return of the Jedi. So, and ever since then, I was like just hooked. Now I watched the other two on VHS beta, whatever it was, but Return of the Jedi is the first time I went, and the Force, everything that affects people, it affects you on a deeper emotion. Then when you read all these books, like I've read 40 or 50 Star Wars books at least, if not more than that.
And just wait till he talks about lightsaber fighting styles.
Well, we're not going to get in that today. You're not going to sidetrack me.
That will be... I'm trying to sidetrack you. Good job staying focused.
I'm staying focused. We're not going to have an hour-long podcast today.
Well, let's see. We're already at 16 minutes or so.
See, we'll be done in another 16 minutes.
All right, we'll see.
But...
how do you really feel about Kathleen?
So, no, here I go. Now, I dislike Kathleen Kennedy with a passion known for me. I'm not a hateful person. There's few people because she screwed up the whole universe. So that's why people don't understand. So something really stuck out to me this week so there's a lot of pushback when Rey was announced. Yeah. To be coming back. Daisy Ridley's coming back to play Rey 15 years after the last trilogy movie, and she's building a Jedi Order. And there's a lot of people like me that are like, oh God, can't we just put those things away? I was not a huge fan. And I'm gonna say this for all the newer Star Wars people that like those movies.
Yep.
If there had never been anything done with Star Wars, if those three movies are the first three movies ever made of Star Wars, I would tell you, those are good movies.
Yeah.
They were not. They were not. They were basically hatchet jobs of the original trilogy. They're 4, 5, and 6. They're just a remake of it, and they had all this great legend source material. So that's why I get. But Daisy Ridley came out and said something, and I don't dislike her or her character. I think it was crappy writing. I think it was crappy direction from the higher up, which Kathleen Kennedy, the reason she has so many problems,
let it go.
She sticks her damn fingers in everything.
Let it go.
And fucks up the creative people because she's not creative.
Unleash the beast.
So I had nothing against Daisy Ridley playing Rey. It could have been great. Mm-hmm. And I've said this many times, here's the number one thing. This stuck out to me so much after watching a bunch of the coverage and then reading stuff, because I'll read blurbs and stuff. She was like, I don't know why people get so upset. It's just a movie. Why they're so angry that it's just a movie.
That's why she's not allowed in this.
This is why Kathleen Kennedy is not George Lucas. Yep. This is why Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are who they are, because they care. They have a passion for the subject matter. It's not just a movie. You're weaving TV shows,
it's a religion,
and movies
people.
And books. I won't go as far as to say it's a religion. I
worship
sit there,
at the Jedi Temple.
I watch and I read a lot of stuff, but. That's the number one thing right there. It stuck out like just a sore thumb. It's just a movie to Daisy Ridley. It's a way for her to make money. She doesn't understand the people that are passionate who read all the books. Anybody that says they like that sequel trilogy, if you have not read the Heir to the Empire trilogy and you think that trilogy could have even compared to that properly done by somebody who cared about Star Wars, you're a nut. The Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn, that trilogy would have been blockbuster. They would have had repeat sales. This is a problem why Star Wars is suffering right now. And thank God that we have Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau and Iger at least came back and is letting them run the show and get more creative people to give a shit about Star Wars. And Kathleen Kennedy's on her way out. We got to thank God for that, because the reason why those movies were successful wasn't opening weekend. Those weren't bad. Nobody went back to see them. Nobody went back to see him. And that's the number one thing is that's what Star Wars was. People went and saw him 10, 15, 20, 30 times at the movie theater.
I did.
And those trilogies, I watched it, I went, man, it wasn't a bad movie, but it was crap compared to what could have been. And that's the main thing I noticed, and it really stuck out to me the whole weekend. I'm excited about several of the movies, the projects. Ahsoka, I watched that trailer multiple times.
Let's talk about Ahsoka.
First, I'm going to wrap that up is Daisy Ridley. Don't come out and say it's just a movie. That's where you screw yourself up. Kathleen Kennedy comes out and says bad stuff about the fans. You know why? We're the ones that make her paycheck. We've stuck with Star Wars through her crappy freaking leading of it. So I am very sad that human being is in charge, has been in charge, but now she's really only running the Acolyte and the Skeleton Crew and maybe one other movie on her contract. But let's all not go to Indiana Jones, because the rumor is if Indiana Jones is successful and she was in charge of it basically, that they're going to keep her on to the end of her contract, which is next year. If it does crappy and is very unsuccessful, which it probably will be anyway because she was running it, then she could be gone as soon as the movie's out and it fails. They're going to cut her contract short and just pay her off. Let's hope that happens. So I'm not going to, even if the Indiana Jones movie got great reviews, I'm not going to go watch it just because I want Kathleen Kennedy gone and I want her fingers completely out of Star Wars. I love you, Harrison Ford. I like Indiana Jones. But I do not want that woman around Star Wars anymore. Her cancer has to be excised.
I think our one listener wants the full Kathleen podcast of just you, a mic, and just... You have like a little dummy over there that you could pull out. I think you just need to pull it out, just beat on it.
I just want her gone.
And get it all out of your system. I just want her
gone because every time she said so we had a bunch of nice interviews with her last week, and every time I'm sitting there going, oh God, this woman is a nightmare. She's like the boss that you hated your whole life. That like you look back at that boss and go, what a piece of crap that boss was. That's who she is. She's not creative.
Yeah. How do you really
sabotages creative people.
Yeah.
She hates George Lucas.
Yeah.
I don't care what the hell she says. Oh, I love George Lucas is a genius. No, if she did, she'd freaking like respect his artwork and what he did.
Yeah.
His art form. He's the creative guy. Dave Filoni, those guys are following what George Lucas did, and she wanted it for herself. She wanted accolades for herself. She didn't care about the universe. It was all about her because she's a narcissist.
Tell us how you really feel.
But that's how I feel. Now, with that being said, I don't know the woman personally, but I've read a lot, and I've seen a lot of interviews. People do not like this woman.
I'm sure she's a great mom.
She comes out and is condescending, arrogant in all of her videos, and she acts like people that are passionate about Star Wars are idiots.
Okay.
That's what she pretty much believes. But she wants you to spend thousands of dollars going to Disneyland and going to the Star Wars. They want you to go watch the movies, pay for Disney Plus, but yet they don't respect the people that are spending the money on it.
My big complaint is they had Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia all come back, and not one scene.
Absolutely.
Not one scene together in the sequels. Come on! And then you killed them all off.
Because she doesn't like the original. She wants her own stuff out there, so that's why this has always been done.
You know, I don't ask for much.
Everything. And if the Disney board lets that, apparently there's discussions I watch, like there's a podcaster named Mike Zero. I watch his stuff, Stupendous. But apparently he does a lot of the stuff, like the political stuff behind the scene.
All right.
Shout out to Mike Zero.
Shout out if you want to be.
He's a nerd. He's a nerd and a half, but he's real nerd, like what's going on right now, like behind the scenes. He has somebody in Lucasfilms and Disney that's like giving him information.
But listen to us and watch us first, Mom. Then you can go over.
He has short little ones. Ours are long. So when we talk about way more than he just talks about Star Wars. We talk about all kinds.
I totally got him off track. There's no way we're finishing in 10 minutes.
Yeah, he knows that I do not like my favorite like stuff, like the most book. If you look at my Audible, I have a lot of good books that aren't Star Wars too that I listen to. But if you look, probably 60% are like Star Wars novels.
You go deep.
I go deep. and I re-listened to something. Like, I'm going to go back and listen to the whole Heir to the Empire trilogy next.
Yeah.
I have them all in book form, so I have to, like, pay for the Audible ones.
No, I'm going straight Audible for that because I got to get my Thrawn on.
And then the three, or the Chiss Ascendancy books, and Thrawn, every book that Thrawn's in. Thrawn's my favorite. So he's my favorite. I know he's a bad guy.
Yep.
Per se.
Well, we'll see.
He's not like...
Well, tell us about Thrawn.
No, we're not going to get sidetracked. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the 3 new movies. Very excited for the Dawn of the Jedi. I can't wait to see what they do with it. The Mandoverse. So let's talk about the next subject we're going to talk about is the Mandalorian, this season. There's one more to go.
You didn't talk about Ahsoka?
Well, that wasn't one of the 3 movies that I sent you to study about.
Okay.
But we will talk about it. Let's talk about Ahsoka since you brought it up twice.
Yeah.
So I watched that trailer twice. The first one I had goosebumps.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited for... I think Ahsoka is going to be the thing that brings... Like, you got the Mandoverse, you got all the Star Force fans back on. You know, we're into it.
Yeah. Out of all the Disney Plus shows, Marvel included, I'm looking forward to Ahsoka the most.
Oh, I am excited. I think Rosario Dawson is... at first, when I heard she got cast, I wasn't, like, super excited about it. I saw why... You know, the fitting of, an older Ahsoka.
She's a 9.8 on the Jennifer Connelly scale.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying.
Well, she is a very attractive woman. But that's not what I'm talking about. She fits that character. And she is awesome.
Yeah.
I love her playing it. I know there's some people who have criticized it or whatever. I think they're nuts. Whenever I hear anybody criticize, she is awesome, and I'm excited about it.
Yep.
But just a lot of the stuff. See, here's what Dave... This is the thing about what's going on with Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, the stuff that they're leading, is they're dragging all the legend stuff in. All the stuff Kathleen Kennedy would never have allowed in, and she's fought them on it, tooth and nail, but now she's lost her power behind the scenes. She only has a few people to even listen to her anymore from what the reports that I read and hear online. And so they have a big old huge, their fingers in everything now.
Yeah.
Even her stuff, they're advising on those things. And they play nice. They play nice on the screen. Oh, Kathleen, she's got the acolyte. It's going to be great and blah, blah, blah. And they're supposed to say that stuff. But they're trying to fix her, trying to sabotage, and they're having to go back and fix all of her mistakes because she's trying to sabotage before she leaves.
I think they're doing a great job at it.
I think they're doing a great job. So they're bringing back all these legends. And let me tell you, when they show the back of Thrawn's head.
Oh, my gosh.
I literally had, like, goosebumps come up. I goosebumps
after the birth of my kids, that's probably the highlight.
Well, I would not go that far. But I was very excited. So having live action and getting Mickelson, I forget his first name.
One of them.
One of the Mickelsons.
Yeah.
Having him do because he voiced it in Rebels, which is my favorite cartoon series. I am excited. Beyond belief. Rosario Dawson is great. I love the whole Dark Jedis. The rumors Thrawn brought them back from the outer regions, outer rim.
Which leads us to Mando.
So Ahsoka, excited. I cannot say how much I cannot wait for that series. I will be watching it hardcore. And I'm gonna buy tickets to go see Return of the Jedi in the theater again.
Ooh.
April 28th.
April 28th. I might have to join you.
The 40th anniversary?
Yeah, I might have to join you.
Yeah, we'll have to go watch it together. And
it was good.
Yeah. So Mando,
what'd you think?
There's a lot of people that didn't like Boba Fett, and they don't like anything slow.
Yeah.
So they're just so anti, like, oh, they're developing a story?
Yeah.
Oh, they shouldn't do that. They should be fighting with lightsabers and shooting each other all the time. And you got that in this episode. You watched it, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh,
I just want to make sure I want to make sure you watch it.
Spoilers. Mom. I'll try to tell Mom you watch this live.
We're releasing this in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we're behind as far as like releasing episodes because he went on vacation. And but I was so excited to have them go back to Mandalore and then throw in the curveball because I didn't know that they were doing anything. You thought that they would have been
stormtroopers?
Well, here's the thing is you didn't know the Empire strikes back.
Yeah.
Struck back yesterday. And you didn't know that they were on the planet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like they went there earlier in the season and there was no sign of the Empire in the sky above or anywhere. Obviously, they're trying to hide it and they're underground and stuff, but there was no sign of it. And so that was quite a curveball. They started running into those like bulkheads. I started going, wait a second, that's new.
Yeah.
Like, that's not something. They're not running through a cavern anymore.
I kept yelling, it's a trap! It's a trap! Don't run after
It's a trap!
Yep.
Admiral Akbar callback.
So here's my thoughts. So chapter 22, the week before, I was almost out on The Mandalorian. I'm like, what's this? What's this?
Watch your mouth over there.
Like, I was like...
So what you're saying is you're one of those haphazard fans that wants to check out when they're trying to develop the story. You got to know.
I was like, okay...
Dave and John are developing that holy shit moment.
Let me tell you. All right, so I'm all in Boba Fett. And then Boba Fett just kind of took this right turn to be kind of like Mandalorian season 2.5. Cool.
Which was awesome.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, well, it's not really about Boba Fett. It's more about the Mando. And then we start the Mando, and I'm like, okay, well, he started out taking care of, young Grogu. And I'm like, I like this. And then it turned out to be, what's her name again? I don't want to mess it up. The leader with the darksaber now. Oh,
Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan. So they should just call it the Bo-Katan show, which is fine. It's like Mando's kind of off to the thing. And then I read that, like, when they say the Mandalorian, they don't have to mean just the one central guy. They can mean all of the Mandalorians.
Well,
and I'm like,
So, like, Carl Weathers calls him Mando.
Yeah.
Because he's a Mando. But they're all Mandos, but they just have different factions.
So I was like, okay, like, I thought 22 was kind of like the weakest episode I've seen of all the different series. I was like, really? Like, you have to go like a one-off episode? Like, I wish they would have had the whole episode of her reclaiming her rightful ruler of all the other Mandalorians. Like, that would have been it. Like, I didn't need to see Lizzo and Jack Black and this weird side mission of droids and see if they're mad or not. Like, I'd rather see like 30 minutes of her going to the different tribes and battling with the thing. I'm like, I am your boss. You will follow me. Let's all go. Like, we had like a 4-minute fight at the end. I'm like, that's it? Like, I was looking forward to her getting all the clans, and then we had this silly thing. So just when I'm not that. I let you go on about Kathleen.
I tell you what, though, like, do you ever like read a book where they develop a story?
I am against reading. And I came in here, I was like, I'm going to blow up The Mandalorian. I'm going to be the contrarian. I'm going to be the critic. And then I saw chapter 23, and I'm like, my God, you got me back in. I'm in. Loved it.
The Praetorian Guard at the end.
Loved it, all of it. Yes, I love the Thrawn talk. I'm just learning about Thrawn. I love that in the beginning. I like how the Empire is secretly gaining strength. All the little Easter eggs. I'm like, oh no, this is what I'm talking about. And it blew all the anger I had over Lizzo and Jack Black. So I'm in.
Good.
I watched chapter 23 twice last night.
You're half-assed, let me tell you.
I'm in. Some of us don't roll 60 books deep. Now, if you want to talk about zombies, post-apocalypse scenarios, UFOs, you're getting into my wheelhouse. If you look at my thing.
I care less about zombies. That's
EMP attacks. I'm ready for any natural disaster other than waking up after too many Mai Tais.
Oh,
but back to Mando.
So if the Praetorian Guard shows up at your front door, you ready for that?
Well, I'll have Lizzo knight me.
Oh, yeah?
She knighted Grogu.
Right before they stick a blade through your ribs?
I think I might have woken up my son moaning from that. Oh.
I'll be honest, it wasn't my favorite part when they went. Now, I like Jack Black. Lizzo, I thought there was, when you look at it as an individual episode, you go, I tried to look for better meanings. Meaning, there was more. I'm not a huge fan
You're so woke.
of Lizzo. And I like Christopher Lloyd, though. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Christopher Lloyd. But they're trying to develop the relationship between Bo-Katan and Din Djarin, because he's going to be her right-hand man. But guess what? He's one of those silent leaders that if she screws up, people are going to start looking to him. That's why so far she's played everything correctly because she was more like I liked this episode. She talked about how she's been selfish.
Yeah.
And the only people that have ever beat the Mandalorians are the Mandalorians themselves. Yeah. Besides Revan.
Jedi. My money's on Luke.
Revan kicked the shit out of Mandalore.
Yeah.
But you probably don't even know that.
I have no idea. I'm not a nerd.
All right. My favorite Jedi Sith of all time, Revan.
I am the jock here in this thing, and he's the nerd.
Yeah, you're the jock.
Let me just
jock strap.
Could be.
But anyway, I'm glad you've come back around on the
I did. I loved it. I loved everything about the episode. I'm excited to see it where it goes. They only got, one more left?
This is what I'm saying. No, they got one more episode left. What are they going to do?
Why can't we
There's
get 10?
so much.
Yes. Why can't we get 10 episode seasons? Why do we have to go down to
This
8?
better be like a 2-hour episode. I haven't even looked to see. Usually they tell you how long the episode is.
It's going to be some other silly mission that won't make sense.
Well, it's all going to be tied into Ahsoka because here's my prediction.
That 3 episodes
there
into
will be
Ahsoka,
a short clip.
It'll go back to Boba Fett.
Either Thrawn on like a holo vid.
Yeah.
Or something. Thrawn's going to be a little bit in it, just like a touch. I don't think he'll be a very big part of it. Now, if he was, you're gonna get a phone call at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Like, dude, did you see that?
Yeah.
It's Thrawn. But it's exciting to see Dave Filoni did Rebels.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see how they're building, like Sabine Wren. You saw Loth.
See, I've never watched Rebels. Do you feel like Ahsoka is like Rebels, like... Was it season 5.5 or 4.5? Like it's just, we did Rebels, and now we're just gonna do like a live action Rebels.
If you are gonna watch Ahsoka, I would go watch Rebels.
All right.
So because Ahsoka's in it, not like for a while, but all the characters are going to be in there because they're all part of that universe.
All right.
So and also the TIE interceptors like Moff Gideon has.
Yeah.
They were built on Lothal.
And how cool was his uniform? That was pretty.
Who? Oh, Moff Gideon?
Yeah.
He looked like...
He was like a Darth Vader.
Darth Vader with like a crown?
Yes. He was a Darth Vader mixed with a Mandalorian.
Yes.
Can't go wrong.
No, I was like, oh, well, look at what he's trying to do.
Mandalorian stormtroopers. You had me.
Yeah.
You had me.
I was just amazed how quickly they wiped it. See, here's the thing.
Yeah.
The reason I want to get rid of the Mandos is because the Mandos are a threat. They're always a threat. They are the badass people. They're the Spartans in the Star Wars universe.
So you're telling me
they're a warrior race.
They could take out the Jedi Order if they wanted to. Like if you had 100 Mandalorians and 100 Jedi.
They're the only ones that have ever defeated Jedis besides Sith, other Force users, non-Force users that have killed and defeated, a decent amount of Jedi.
Did they ever explain how the one stormtrooper that they cloned off of, that he was a Mandalorian, wasn't he? Didn't
Jango Fett?
Yeah. Because
I'm trying to recollect.
Didn't Samuel L. chop his head off?
Yeah.
Right, and he was a Mandalorian.
Well,
rest my case. Jedi won.
Well, no, the Jedi usually beat the Mandalorians.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying that the Mandalorians can hold their own better than anybody else against the Jedi.
That's true.
And they can beat pretty much anybody if they have enough. That's why the Empire got rid of them.
Yeah.
That's why they tried to get rid of them. That's why Mandalore looks like it does. So, it's. I would say the Jedi are definitely can beat them, but they will suffer losses when they take on Mandalorians.
Okay.
They're actually fought a lot in the book I'm reading right now.
All right.
It's legends. It probably will never come to light because they're going to make a new Jedi Order with Rey. But that's
Let's go back to Kathleen.
But anyway,
we digress. So what we need also, as the future podcast goes, is you need like a book review. It'd be like, I just finished this book. I give it like 3 barbells out of 5. Like, everyone go read this. Like, you need your own, like, just finished.
Like a book review?
Yeah. Of like, I just finished this series.
I think I'm in the 4th book of the Path of the Jedi. I'd have to look at it. My phone's up there recording this shit.
Yeah, and I'm trying to... For you, Mom,
Have you
I'm trying
working
to
on your
stand up
posture?
straighter. Yeah.
Your wife said, you need to sit up more like I do.
I've had 2 people watch this video and both said, you need to stand more or sit more like this guy. I'm like, all right.
I always teach posture, but I'm always sitting here going, what do I do? I like to talk with my hands, so I'm trying not to, so I put them together a lot like this, so I don't move my hands around a lot, especially because the camera now is twisted over on me because I'm holding my hand up and moving the camera.
Yeah. I can fix it in post a little bit. I'll shift it over
just a little bit. But off of Star Wars and on to the Blue Beetle trailer.
Oh my goodness. What'd you think?
I'll be honest, DC needs some wins because now Marvel isn't doing great. A lot of people are critical of their movies and stuff coming out.
Yep.
DC has had a wholesale change where they've disenfranchised a lot of people like myself.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill, I'm a huge fan. I thought Ben Affleck was a good
Snyderverse.
Batman.
I was totally in the Snyderverse.
I was in the Snyder Cut is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
I've watched it twice and it's like 4 hours.
I know, right?
It's great. And can there be anybody who's a better Superman out there right now than Henry Cavill? No. So why are you going to sabotage it all? But with that being said, it already is done. And I would say Gunn's going to have to really impress me for me to get me back into DC. I think he's capable of it, but his ideas are a little more abstract usually how he does things. He's the Guardians of the Galaxy, not the Iron Man. Well, guess what? You're in charge of the Superman movie now.
Yeah.
It's yours. And whoever you get is going to be criticized like hell, and they're going to have to do an amazing job to really pull the people like me who are Cavill people who thinks they should have made the Snyderverse.
Kept it.
It was laid out there for you, and if you're such a good director and a good creative person, he could have tweaked it all to get it to where he needs it to be at.
Yeah.
Instead, he just let's scrap it all. But let's talk about the Blue Beetle.
All right.
A more obscure for some people. Like I talked to a few people about it who had no idea who the Blue Beetle was, and I was like, what?
He's not my Blue Beetle. I grew up with. I'm more of a comics guy than you, but I'm more Marvel.
What?
But he's
my comics were the '80s comics.
Yeah.
Once I got into the '90s, I didn't read as much of those. I read a little.
Me too. I kind of dropped off some in the late '90s, but I grew up with a different Beetle, so this is kind of like their new twist on it. And to me, it's just the same as all the other ones. Like, I'm tired of origin stories. Like, hey, I'm going to get powers, and then I'm going to fight somebody who's probably Beetle power related. And then who knows if there'll be a second one, because I don't know if it fits in James Gunn's thing.
That's my worry, but I think it does.
Why am I going to invest if it's going to be a one and done?
From watching the trailer, what got me excited is I think he can be, number one, he's very popular, Cobra Kai.
Well, that's
Solo, whatever, Martin, whatever.
We need to have a Cobra Kai conversation later, but yes.
Oh, yeah, we'll have one on a future podcast.
We both have to wear our Spartan shirts.
Oh, yeah. So our Spartan team is named, my Spartan team.
His Spartan team.
That Brad was a part of was named Team No Mercy. When we run races, we have our shirts that have the Cobra Kai logo, and it says Team No Mercy on it.
I had so many compliments as I was dying on the good
I love
shirt.
Your shirts, man. We get it a lot.
Yeah.
So, I think.
So you like him?
I think that watching the trailer, you get a feel for a movie.
Yeah.
So it's going to be funny.
Yeah.
I think you got George Lopez in it. Mm-hmm. You got, different people saying, the way they have it framed, it seems like it's going to be like a funny movie.
Yeah.
Latino base, which is that, hey.
Fine.
Reyes is like that. Blue Beetle is the one that I know, really.
Yeah.
A lot more because he's been in a lot of the cartoon series.
Yeah.
So, and my son would watch a lot of those. That's how I got to know the Beetle more than like the old school.
Yeah.
But I don't know how deep we should dive into the Blue Beetle. I don't know a ton.
We're losing Mom as we speak. We're losing my mom. Yeah. She was with us all through Star Wars. So she's like, anyway, Blue Beetle.
The Blue Beetle is... there's a race of aliens that send these scarabs to different planets because they want to conquer these planets, and it looks for a host.
Kind of like a Green Lantern ring?
Kind of, except evil and not probably to every planet. So they're trying to have that blue beetle conquer that planet, or the beetle, or scarab, or whatever. I forget what their race is called. They have a name, but they have these high-tech suits.
Yeah.
He's not the only one. There's like, higher ups.
Yeah,
and
guess who's going to fight?
Eventually they come to the planet here, and he fights them in the Justice League and Young Justice and those different things. Those are shows that I've watched with him in it.
Yeah.
But it's going to be DC's
Let's hope.
Spider-Man.
All right.
That's DC
You
Spider-Man.
heard it here first.
I think it's going to be hugely successful.
Really? I think it's going to
But
open...
it's not going to be James Gunn's success because this is already done.
Yeah, I think it's going to open 30, 40 million. It'll do okay. 70.
I
think it's going to do like Shazam.
60, 70. 67. No, it's going to do bigger than Shazam.
Okay.
Because Shazam had a lot of bad... I don't know why I haven't watched it yet. I just don't like going to the movie theater anymore. So I'm waiting. It's coming out, in like a week?
Yeah. So I saw Black Adam, so I paid my dues.
I saw Black Adam.
That tells you how
That's
much
the last movie I went and saw.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't been back since.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. You can't have Black Adam and Shazam in the same universe anymore because James Gunn.
Yeah. I think they should honestly scrap the Shazam stuff.
Yeah.
They should go the core the Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Batman.
Stay with what you know. Get that right.
Blue Beetle's in there now. You're going to have some other obscure people because James Gunn likes obscure Guardians of the Galaxy. He likes the obscure stuff. Because let's be honest, if you read comics, you knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were, but they were not considered a good comic.
No.
I never
They weren't a top 50.
The only reason I read Guardians of the Galaxy ones is because Iron Man went on adventures with them. Yep. That's the only reason I knew who they were, and that was only when Superior Iron Man or whatever did space travel. That's all, and I don't even remember them that
and well. The X-Men.
So that's the only I remember the raccoon, and I was like, well, now I know Rocket, and I know them all really well now. But the comics were not very good. They were not super successful, I don't think.
So you're in. You're in with the Blue Beetle.
I'm in with the Blue Beetle.
Are you going to actually go see it in the theater?
Yeah. Actually, my son and I already said we were going to go see it. So he's really excited about it, too, because that was one of his favorite DC characters.
Somehow my invitation was not mailed to me.
I might allow you to sit in the same movie theater with me and Return of the Jedi.
Could I sit between you and your son during the Blue Beetle show?
Well,
can we all share a popcorn?
I want a buffer, so you have to sit on the other side of him.
Oh my gosh!
So I can't have you sitting there whispering shit in my ear while I'm trying to watch a movie.
All right, so we're at about 45 minutes. So we're 15 minutes. Yeah. So
I told you, look, the Blue Beetle was the last thing. We already talked about your vacation.
No one wants to hear about me in an airplane with a 6-year-old autistic son.
But we already talked about you were drunk and you ate a lot of food the whole time.
Well, let me tell you real quick.
Give us 2 highlights.
Again, to repeat that people who don't know, and I know, Mom, you know, I have a very severely autistic 6-year-old, soon to be 7. And we typically don't like going on flights that are over 2 hours without a layover. So we were pro layover. If we have 3 layovers in a flight, we'll take it.
Damn, you're opposite of me. Huh?
Yeah, well,
hard pass.
If you had direct flights, if you had our son, you'd be like, let's push it. We get into the plane. We board. We talk to the attendants, the pilots, everybody. We leave little candy bags to let people know what's going on. And about an hour into the flight, my son looks at me and he's like, "I want to go home." And we're like, "Oh boy, that's the start. That's the rumble." And then he starts getting fidgety, and you just know it's coming, and you're just helpless to stop it. It's like an avalanche. You start hearing the little bit. So it was
the Mandalorian stormtroopers flying in?
Yes.
That was him going, "I want to go home." And you're like, what are those?
I just made eye contact with the wife, and we just kind of shrugged our shoulders. Well, here we go. 4 hours of this. And then constant crying, screaming.
Moff Gideon comes down, and then you're like, "It's on!"
Just... Black Saber, right in my heart, would you please?
Dark Saber, not Black Saber.
Sorry. See, this is why I'm not the
racist.
Total... Yeah, I am. I don't like green people, and I'm not afraid to say it.
There you go.
Green people, I don't trust them.
Yeah.
Don't trust them. So that was my way there. He cried and fought for about 4 hours straight, to the point that even the first class, everyone decided to let us deboard the plane first. So as soon as that gate opened up, they're like, "We're just going to let this family off." Yep,
I'm tired of hearing it. Let's get them off of here.
Yep, let them go. Let them go. People helped us with our suitcases. I mean, we were right off.
Yep.
So that explains the Mai Tai.
There's the nice people, and the people are just like, I can't handle it anymore.
Yeah,
Please get them away from me.
They're nice until like hour 2. They're like, you know what? The little candy that you gave us, not really cutting it. You know, a lot of people were drinking hard liquor.
You got some more of that candy?
Yeah.
I can't handle this anymore.
We should have just offered people alcoholic drinks all in the flight.
That's it. They should have been like in your carry-on. You just had like bottles of, Jim Beam.
Yes, we should have just
shot.
Yep, we should have just like the rows in front behind us. Like, here is a big bottle. I don't drink. Oh, you will. You will have this.
Oh, you're going to drink in about an hour and a half.
Yes. So with people who do have special needs kids, you understand that when you go on vacation.
I told you highlights, not lowlights.
Oh, no, it's kind of a highlight. Your whole vacation is wrapped around them. It's trying to get them comfortable. You try to get them into a routine. You try to do the hour change. We get all of this stuff. He did great, and he fell in love with Moana. We went to a Disney-themed hotel in Hawaii, and they have this woman dressed as Moana, and my son just lasered in on him. Like, I've never seen anything like it. He just wanted just to be around her. He kept waving at her, winked at her. I mean, I don't even get that attention. And I sleep with the kid. I was jealous.
We should delineate that you sleep with your son because he has to.
He has to have an adult supervision in bed, because otherwise he will get up and just leave the house.
And Brad comes in many times going, dude, I hardly slept.
I get about 4 hours of sleep a night on average. So if you're wondering why.
Peed on.
Yes. That explains
He'll walk in the door. I'm like, I smell a strong smell of urine. What's going on, buddy?
This time it's not mine. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not. So that was probably the highlight, was my son finding his first love of Moana. And I admit, she's probably 9.3 on the Jennifer Connelly scale.
Oh, really?
She was very nice. Whoever that lady was, that wonderful actress, handled him great. Like, just rolled with it. We kind of explained a little bit of like, he's autistic, and any type of eye contact and, bonding, whatever, we were so helpful, happy to have. So when he just beeline toward Moana every time he saw her, we were like, okay, boy.
So that actress, after her shift, was like,
yeah, she was like, woo!
Shots!
Yeah, she earned her money. I don't know what they pay her. But
probably pretty well. You know how much they charge to go to that place.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
I looked it up and I was like, I'll hard pass on that one when my kids were young.
But you know what? If you would have seen Moana, you might have.
See, here's my thing is, my kids were by the time Moana came out, my kids really weren't that much into Disney movies anymore. So I never watched Moana.
Yeah.
So that's one of the few Disney movies that I never watched. Lilo and Stitch. Watched that 50,000 goddamn times, but
I feel you.
Moana, no. And they're making a live action Lilo and Stitch, you know that?
Well, they should cast that girl who played Moana.
I think they cast some Hawaiian girl who's not very well known or something.
The best
but anyway,
No, I got one more thing real quick.
Okay.
The best part is that you have breakfast with the characters.
Mm-hmm.
So we're eating there, and Minnie Mouse comes over. My son looks up and says, I want Moana, and just kind of looks back down of like, just, I'm not into you, Minnie. Like, if you're not Moana, and he doesn't pronounce the name correctly, but he totally dissed Minnie Mouse.
Oh,
it's just like,
good.
He's like, no, I want Moana. I'm like, okay.
And he just goes back to
it went right back to
no attention to you whatsoever. Yeah. My energy is not going to you. Only Moana, my energy goes.
Yeah, like don't try to play me. Like, I want one person. Where is she? That's it. Every morning, he's like, can we go see Moana? Like, she's not there yet today, buddy. But anyways, I'm done. That was the highlight.
I like it.
First love.
All right. So if you have any questions about fitness, if you have any stuff you want to give us feedback for, feel free to comment. We may look at it. We may not. website is Roseville Strength and Condition. Well, it's RosevilleSC.com, but the business, if you want to look it up on Instagram or Facebook, it's Roseville Strength and Conditioning. I'm Casey Wilson. This is...
I'm Brad Erie.
And we're out.